So here is where I found myself at a point that I can say that the drink was invented at least by 1929, but was it actually invented by the unsinkable Molly Brown? This is now empty, so we're switching to the egg white version. Well, the thing about that is that Molly wasn't just staying in Paris when that newspaper man asked her what she was drinking. She was staying at the Paris Ritz. And you ask yourself, Greg, how could you possibly know that? And it's because I have a letter that she wrote to her business manager in the US on Paris Ritz stationery from the Ritz in 1929. And who was the head bartender in the Ritz in 1929? It's the same guy who'd been the head bartender there since 1921, Frank Meyer. And I need to talk about Frank Meyer for a minute here because he might be just as interesting, if not more so, than the unsinkable Brown. Through the 20s, of course, Frank Meyer was bartender to all of those notables of the literary scene that loafed around in Paris: Hemingway, the Fitzgeralds, Cole Porter, everybody else. He is the unseen, unmentioned bartender that must have been lurking in the background of that great movable feast. In fact, the bar at the Ritz was then called the Little Bar and has now been renamed the Hemingway Bar for his prominence there. I feel like there's probably a lot of bars that are named after Hemingway these days. I don't know too many people other than Hemingway who are more famous for drinking publicly. But while those bright young things moved on, Frank stayed right through Nazi occupation when the Luftwaffe High Command, including Hermann Goering himself, used the Ritz as their personal residence and headquarters. Meyer is an Austrian of Jewish descent and since 1921 a Frenchman. He is not a Nazi. He's aiding the resistance from Luftwaffe headquarters in Paris from right under their noses. Like some kind of a real-life Rick Blaine, he was the guy who could get you the papers you needed to get out of Paris if you had to skedaddle. He kept his ears open while he poured champagne for Goering and took notes. He acted as a courier for both the French and German resistance. According to historian and author Tilar Mazeo, and I apologize if I got that name wrong, he was very likely involved in the Valkyrie plot to kill Hitler. But all of that is later and not really part of the story of this drink. The Bee's Knees, the drink that Frank Meyer claimed to invent in 1936 in his Artistry of Cocktails, but which was really invented by Molly Brown in 1929, right?